Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm over here in the sunny Gold Coast of Australia. Just a quick word of wanting to acknowledge what many people over in the US have been through with this awful hurricane that came through. So I just wanted to acknowledge and say our thoughts are with you, our prayers are with you, and I can imagine that this is a very trying time for very many people. And of course, there's been this awful loss of life as well. And so blessings to all who are suffering at the moment, and prayers be with you. So today, I guess, on that topic, I thought it was appropriate that we talk about mediumship. Although I demonstrate it regularly, and so many of the beautiful hosts on A1R Psychic Radio demonstrate mediumship regularly, I thought we'd dive a little deeper into it and talk about what we're actually doing and what mediumship really means. So, mediumship is a very misunderstood word, even in the industry. Some people put down psychic medium, although they don't typically talk to loved ones who have crossed over. They might be instead be doing psychic readings, which are all about the client's past, present, and future. And the reason that they still use the word medium is because medium is the in-between. So we are the in-between the spirits, the spirit guides, the angels, the higher self, and those who we are talking to here in the flesh. And so the word medium gets used quite a bit. But a true mediumship reading is really all about helping the client or the caller, such as yourselves, to connect with somebody that they have lost over in spirit. And to do that, I'll be talking a little bit later on in this show about the techniques that we use and the difference between a good mediumship reading and a great mediumship reading. All right. So I believe that we are getting ready to take a caller. It'll be interesting to see what they choose, whether they'd like a psychic reading today or a mediumship reading today. So we have Lindsay in Wilmington, Massachusetts with us now. Are you there, Lindsay?
I sure am.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for joining me. Were you hoping to have a reading about yourself today or to hear from a loved one who's crossed over?
I mean, if I could hear from a loved one that's crossed over, that would be excellent, but either or is fine with me. I mean, it would be great if somebody would come through, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, they're showing me a young man. Immediately, they just show me this picture of this young man. He's got like a basketball in his hands. Does this mean anything to you?
Basketball cap? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so it's like they've got a basketball in their hands, and they're just showing me this. Yeah.
Nothing ringing a bell.
Okay, so has there been a young person that was lost from friends or family, a young male?
Yeah, there's been lots of passings.
Okay, so the young male that had a light brown hair, and I feel like whether he was a basketball player or he was just a fairly active young man, can you place a young man that had brown hair, but on the lighter side of brown, and he looked to be in really good condition, like he enjoyed sports or kept himself quite busy. It may be going back a while. Does that make any sense to you?
I mean, I want to say that I did have a few friends that passed like right after graduating high school. So would it be like around that age?
I was going to say, went back a while. So was this back in the 70s or 80s?
Oh, I was born in 81. So I mean, if it was anybody before that, I'm not sure. But
so if you're
the ones that would have passed would have been like early 2000s. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, because he was trying. He's showing me 80s, and I was thinking whether that passed, but it possibly when he was born, and he's making me feel like it was a tragedy. It was his passing was an absolute. He's using the word tragedy, so it was very unexpected. There was no illness involved. It feels very much like an accident.
Like a car
Does this
accident?
make any sense to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I just actually one of our as a kid I had gone to school with and was really close with. He was just rear-ended on the highway this past year, and passed away. But he was been older,
okay.
so So I'm trying to figure out. I mean, there's a lot of overdoses. Another one of my friends had passed. Supposedly he had committed suicide, but I just don't see him doing that. But
so this guy just said the word to me, Framingham. So
what did he say? Framingham?
Yeah, Framingham's like Framingham, Massachusetts. So this person either moved to, or this town was relevant.
I mean, Framingham is close to Wilmington, but Framingham wouldn't ring a bell to me for anything. But it is a close area to where Wilmington is.
Okay.
I mean, I could possibly forget too.
potentially went to school there. So maybe university. Let me just see, because the man that showed me the younger boy, it could be for me to describe him to you. So let me see if he actually, I'm just going to ask him to show me how old he was when he passed.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, so 41. I'm really bad at maths. So if
you're good, I'll help you.
Yeah, so he was saying he was around 41 when he passed. He was in his early 40s.
Yes, Mike.
Okay, all righty.
That's who I would think it would be.
He's showing me
and he was into sports, very, very active.
Yeah, and so he's showing me that he was he had quite a chirpy, cheeky personality. He was upbeat. When he was in school, he's showing me that he wasn't like Mr. Super Popular, but he was liked. He was really well liked.
Yeah, very well liked, very well liked. But you're exactly right.
Okay. So we know his cause of passing. Let me just get into more detail about time spent with you. So
please.
The memories of the two of you. Oh, wow. So he's showing me like ice cream and movie theaters. He's showing me like kicking around.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy that you say that, because I got a picture of I'm sorry, I'm trying to tear up, but we don't go to the movies, and I have a picture that my friend's father had posted up, and it's myself and two of my friends that have passed, him being one of them in it. And it was just recent that it was posted up.
Oh, wow. Because he's like,
movies.
He just gives me this feeling of being in a town, and just like the streets were yours, and you guys just...
Yeah, he definitely ran Wilmington.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you were in trouble or anything else. It was just that you were always looking for things to do together. And he shows me that even on nights where there was not a lot of money or not a lot to do, that you guys just made your fun. You just had a good time.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Now, all right. He's showing me, I don't know if this is you or a friend, but he's showing me a female with blonde hair that's probably not far off my own. And I know that you may not be watching, but probably just past shoulder length, a bit of curl, but she's got like a bright yellow shirt or dress, and like wearing like almost like a beaded necklace. And he's just like, you guys always palled around and kicked around together. So did you have a friend that was blonde, or was that you?
I had a friend that my friend Kelly and Katie, either or, one of them. They both had the short shoulder length. It's probably Kelly.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I feel like she was a real gas. Like he's saying she was like you guys got hours of entertainment out of her. There was always a laugh.
Yeah, oh yeah. For sure.
Like she was a bit of a clown.
Oh yes.
I feel like his humor was sharp, dry, and he was really funny, but she was more of a
Yes.
clown and sometimes didn't even mean to be a clown, but just made everybody laugh.
Oh yeah, she definitely did.
Okay. So he says we're reconnected. We're reconnected. So is he
Me and
talking?
him?
Is Kelly in spirit?
No, Kelly. No, she's alive.
Okay, so let me see who he's
It
talking
could be
about
somebody that he's connecting
reconnecting
to.
to.
He might be talking about his wife. I don't know his wife. I mean, he did go on to get married, have kids, and things like that. But obviously, I mean, we're in our 40s. You lose touch with people, but he was somebody very
Yeah.
special to me.
Okay. So I'm just asking him to speak through me. What do you mean by
Yeah.
um he's saying about you, like he's so happy that you're reconnecting with him, but he feels like that you've been on this process of reconnecting with him for a little while now. Like he said, it's funny that you've been looking at photos, you've been thinking about those
Yeah.
times. He's saying
Yes.
that's him because he feels like you should never have lost touch, but life just makes you lose touch sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And he wants you to know that you are in as much in his heart as he is in yours, and that those were some of the best days of his life, and that you guys had such a warm friendship group. That isn't it
We did.
wonderful that you have all of those rich memories to look back on because they'll never
Yeah.
be taken away. Even on the
No,
other
they won't.
side, they reminisce, they still remember. Um, was there another cheeky guy too that used to pal around with you guys who was a little more of thought he was a tough guy?
Yeah, probably Joe. He's passed.
Okay, yeah. 'Cause I was gonna say he seemed like he was sometimes people play the tough guy act because they're a little bit of a fraidy cat and they're a little
Right.
frightened. And so they come up with a tough person persona, but they're really nice underneath it all. And he was just wanting to acknowledge that he couldn't leave that friend out either, that the dynamic of
Yeah.
all of you together was just magic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It really was. It was fun. So much fun.
Yeah. Now he's talking about you having a daughter yourself. Have you a daughter?
I do. Yeah, I have a daughter. I do.
Yeah, and he's saying
She's
it's
17.
like, yeah, he's saying it's like she's at the same age that you guys kicked around together,
Oh yes. Oh yes.
and that you're hoping she had the same kind of experiences and memories, but life's a little different for her.
Yeah, it is completely.
Yeah, they're more into their devices, they're more into a different
She's got a
style of
lot going
friendship
on.
now. And he
Yeah, not
says it
even that.
makes
It's
you a
just
bit.
she's got differences.
Okay, because he's saying you get a bit melancholy, you get a little bit down that she doesn't get the same experiences,
Yeah, I do.
but she has her form of happiness. She has her way, and he wants you to know that bridges may burn, things from the past may not come back, but it's going to get better for her in the future.
I hope so. I really do.
He's saying that it's like I don't know how to explain this. It's like she awakens from a slumber. It's like suddenly her world expands, but just to wait for it because it's around 23 or 24, her life just completely shifts gears and you're going to be so relieved. So he just wants you to know not to get down, to just
Yeah.
wait for it. things are going to get better for her. It's going to get brighter. And he's playing me this song, and I don't know the words very well, but it's like that song, "Ooh, things are going to get brighter."
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about, yes.
He's
Ooh,
playing that
child.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. And he's just trying to say, if he could give you anything, it's the gift of knowing she's going to be fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that, yeah.
As for yourself,
Oh, God, shit show.
no, he says you have been lucky in love.
When?
So you don't think so?
I mean, like, I had met somebody 9 years ago, but it was like real brief when I was living somewhere else, different state, and I came home and would get in touch here and there, and I always had like a weird connection with him, just like an instantaneous connection, and we've been talking together again, but I don't know, that would be the only thing that's good, because my child's father, I mean, he's an addict and he can't seem to father
can't
up.
get it together. He's saying, hold on to this lovely, lovely man that's back in your life. He's saying, hold on. Our relationships don't have to be traditional for them to be rich and to feel good. And he's saying, see, you have had some luck, and to just go with it and let the relationship be what it is. It doesn't have to be the traditional, we live in the same house, etc. He's saying your life wouldn't even permit that at the moment.
Right. No, I know that.
Yeah.
For sure.
So he's saying, just know that
he's kind of tied up anyway.
Yeah, just know that this man is a blessing. Just know the man is a blessing, and he's just right for just now. And to know that even for you, by the time your daughter's life switches up and turns around and gets much brighter, he's saying you won't know yourself either, because there's really good things coming for you.
I pray to God so. Yes, I pray to God so.
Yeah. And anytime that you want him to be with you, like he's saying, just say his name and he will be there by your side. And if anything, he'll drop in a memory of something that used to make you guys laugh. He said, because you deserve more laughter. So just call him in, and he will give you a memory of something that you could laugh about.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for letting me bring him through for you, Lindsay, and wishing you all the very best.
You too.
Take
thank
care
you so much. I appreciate it. You too.
You're so welcome. Bye-bye.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Wow. So it's funny how things work out. I wasn't sure who our caller would be, as I never am, and I'm never sure what they want. But today they said we needed to talk about mediumship. And I think that's probably just some evidence that these readings are not just frivolous. They're not just for a bit of fun. Sometimes they can be so very, very healing. Clearly that Lindsay was somebody who had lost somebody that she'd kind of drifted away from, but that man wanted her to know that what they had was so special, their friendships, and that those bonds are remembered even on the other side, and that those who were dear to us at one time still wish us all the best from the other side too, and can still pop in on us once in a while. So I mentioned earlier, before our beautiful caller, that we would talk a little bit about mediumship. And I wanted to talk about the difference between a good reading and a not so good reading. And then we'll talk about the difference between a good reading and a great reading. And this will be a teaching moment as well. So I'll tell you, sometimes when people misconstrue the word medium and people think they're going to hear from a loved one, it's because it's not within that psychic medium skill set, because they don't particularly do mediumship readings. So before you order a reading, make sure that you're getting what you want and that that's part of their wheelhouse, that's part of their skill set, and that you really want to connect to people who have crossed over. Now, what's the difference between a good reading and a great reading? A good reading is where we give some evidence that the person is with us, but the great reading is where we can really give deep evidence. We can describe the person, describe their personality, understand how they passed, if, as was just happened, was presented to me how he passed. Otherwise, it would have been up to me to figure out how did that person pass, if spirit will talk about it. And then we want to go on to things in formatting, how we format our reading to make sure that it is as healing as possible for those who we read for. So some of the things that we can include in our reading is information all about the person's life. What did they love? What was important to them? Sometimes it's the small little things that have meaning. For example, if you have somebody with you in spirit who was a wonderful cook, you can ask them what they were known for. And it might be a dish that was just so particular to them that, of course, the client has confirmation that, yeah, they were actually known for tiramisu. They were known for that dessert. Or, yeah, that was their favorite thing to cook for the family. And it might seem like such a small thing, but our lives are made up of small things and small moments. It's not always the big moments that we're defined by. So a great reading will include the small moments as well as the big, and definition about who that spirit was, definition about what was important to them. Sometimes it's the person's work. Other people just work for a living and it's not exactly the love or thrill of their life. So as you can imagine, if you have a poet or a musician or a doctor or somebody come through who got to do what they loved in life, then there might be some chit chat about that during the reading. And that is evidence, of course, of who we're bringing through. But equally as important are the times that they loved, the holidays that they loved, the things that were meaningful to them. And then we would move into, and it's not that everyone formats their readings this way, but it's just letting you know some evidence that you might expect from a really good or great reading. Evidence of times spent together where your client and that person in spirit intersected and spent time together. So I'm so grateful for Lindsay calling through because we got to provide that evidence. It was a picture that he showed me of like being at the movie theater. And she said that's exactly the picture that she had. And it was like ice cream movie theater hanging around on the main street. And that is what we would consider evidence of shared experiences. And sometimes, of course, that was a very brief reading. When we have a whole hour together, we can bring through much, much more evidence. What other types of evidence? Proof that they still go on. So, for example, in that reading where we were just talking to Lindsay's friend in spirit, he was saying that he sees that she has a daughter. And so even though they'd lost touch, maybe he knew that before he passed. But if there had been a long time between a person's passing and then this mediumship reading, sometimes they'll say, oh, I see that they graduated from uni, or I see that they've had 2 children, or whatever the case may be. And that is that beautiful evidence that spirit is still looking over, is still watching over and seeing what happens in our life. So some of the most poignant or some of the most beautiful things to bring through are special occasions. So for example, we've all seen this happen or had it happen ourselves where we're at a special occasion. Maybe it's our wedding or our child's wedding or a graduation day. And we think, oh, wow, we so wish that, grandmother was here. Grandma would have loved this, would have loved that. But very often they are there, especially if we invite them to attend. Sometimes, whether they're invited or not, they wouldn't miss it for the world. And in a mediumship reading, they can usually recount what they saw at those special occasions. And that's really important evidence to bring through as well. The other types of things that they might bring through are what's going on in the client's life. So if you're receiving a reading, don't be surprised if your loved one doesn't talk about your life and what's happening for you now. I'll give you an example. I remember years ago at my first paid reading in front of an audience, so a platform mediumship event, standing in front of a crowd. There was a young lady sitting with two older women. And when I say older, they were not even middle-aged. I say she was probably in her early 20s, and these women were in their early 40s to mid-40s. And it kind of looked like she was with her mom and perhaps her aunt. And the person who came through was a grandmother. And everything was spot on. You know, she cooked, she did this, she didn't like her big hands, she always hid them in her apron. But when things really took off, I asked for the message, and the messages are usually fairly simple. It's, you know, I love you, or I'm proud of you. They're usually very simple messages. But when we ask them a more in-depth question, such as, what is your advice? Things really opened up for this young lady, and she got spoken to about needing to stand up for herself at work. So often they'll give us that type of evidence as well, of things that are going on in your life right now and their advice. So I just wanted to finish up there and let you know that if you would like a mediumship or a psychic reading of your own, you can reach me on www.deb.bullions.com.au. And if you'd like to learn yourself, it's www.spiritquestschool.org. So I'm available for personal readings, one-to-one. Usually they're a 1-hour session. And I'm also available for one-to-one mentoring and teaching if you would like to learn more about how to do this yourself. I thank you so very much for joining me this week, and look forward to being with you next week. All the best.